Good morning, Rocketeers. It's time for Distant Learning G4 STEM TPU. We're in week 4, day 1. We're always going to start with our big idea. Our big idea for today is mathematicians label what each calculation represents in the problem as they solve. Rocketeers, I'm going to go over how important it is to label throughout the whole process of setting up your Foursquare. That is all a part of my organizing my work neatly. I'm also going to be labeling throughout my Foursquare because it's going to be essential on how I solve the problem. We always start with a guided practice. Today in our guided practice, I'm going to read the problem first in its entirety. Then I'm going to set up my Foursquare. Then I'm going to read it again, sentence by sentence, so I can gather all the information I might need. Let's take a moment to set up our Foursquare now. Now, I've set up my Foursquare of what I know and my plan. I'm going to read the problem in its entirety and write it on what I know column. Miss Turner drove 825 miles in March. She drove 3 times as many as in March as she did in January. So I'm going to write 3 times in March, then in January. So I know that March, the month of March, is greater than January. Then I'm also going to reread the sentence, 825 miles in March. Then I'm going to read, she drove 4 times many in February as she did in January. So February is greater than January. Then I know that I have to solve total number of miles in February. I have completed what I know column. Now I'm going to go to my plan. Now, I know that the first part of my plan, which I'm going to label part A, is 825 miles, which represents the miles in March, divided by 3 equals January's miles. As you can see, Rocketeers, I'm making sure that I'm labeling for each month represented so I can organize my work. Now, I know that's not all what I'm solving for because I'm going back to what I know. I have to solve total number of miles in February. So I'm going to label that as part B. As part B, and that's January miles times 4. This is going back to what I know, the 4 times, equals the total miles in February. Now, good Rocketeers, we know that I had to label for each month to make sure they're represented. Now, we're going to move on to our next step. By labeling in real time, as I was actively completing my Foursquare, it helped me organize my thinking on how to solve this answer. It also provided of what I am solving for. I divided 825 miles divided by 3 to find my quotient of 275 miles, which represents 275 miles in January. By looking back at my plan, I know that it lets me know that that's not all what I'm solving for. I multiplied 275 miles in January times 4 to represent the miles in February. The product is 1,100 miles in February. Now, what I'm going to do is a really good tool that a lot of Rocketeers use, and Miss Brown use it a lot. I'm going to annotate my work, and I'm going to slash that trash and box my answer, which is A. Rocketeers, I want to get us back to our big idea. Mathematicians label what each calculation represents in the problem as they solve. And Rocketeers, it is so important for you to remember that this big idea is not an idea that is in isolation. This helped me organize my work. If I never put in the groundwork of doing a really good label and actively doing it as I was doing my Foursquare, I know that I would have gotten super confused. So it's time for you to practice G4, week day 1 STEM. The fourth grade team, Mr. Jones and I, will be looking at your great work and checking up with you throughout the day. Have an amazing day, Rocketeers.